you were the world champion basically the whole time, and I think everyone in this room agrees. John Cena was on Raw, but on SmackDown is much more interesting with Edge. And I wanted to. We've always kind of, whenever we've done like a kind of rare serious moment on one of these shows, we've never really wanted to delve into people's personal lives. It's not what we want to do. I don't think he really wants us to do that. So I'm not going to go into the details of you and Lita within Matt Hardy situation. But what I want to ask you about that professionally is this situation happens in your personal life with you and Lita. Matt Hardy, who's obviously the kind of, I guess, the victim in the situation, decides to make it public. And you're in this weird place where you're a heel, and you have these choices to make. Where you either have to embrace being this, or you have to be apologetic. But then not only that, you then need to be side by side with Lita and work against Matt. And I don't think people really think about how hard that must have been for you to do all that. So I guess my question would be, when that all kicks off and it all goes public and stuff, is there a sort of like internal angst about it? How do you deal with that and turn those negatives into a positive where you can make a program together?
Well, that's exactly it. It's like, right, that was some bad decision making. So now what? Well, we're here. And you got to try, and if there's a big pile of there's probably some positives in there somewhere. You just got to wipe the away and try and find them. And this was one of those instances where it's like, okay, we're here, so now what do? You can, make the best of it, or try and do something from it, or let it consume you, and who knows where that goes. So are like, all right, let's do this. We got to fully commit to this. And I was like, I will take this and try to become the most hated individual in the wrestling industry. I will fully commit to this, and I will fully embrace it and try and run with it. And hopefully Matt does the same on his side of it. That I can't control. What I can control is what I do going forward, the promos I cut, the place I need to get to on my promos. And because a lot of real emotions were involved, I finally realized where I needed to tap into on my promos to take them to a different place than they were. That was where I learned that. And I realized I don't actually have to be involved in a real situation to be able to get to that place. I can, for lack of a better term, become an actor and try and get to this emotional place without having to go through an emotional, turmoil. And that's really all we tried to do is like, right, we're here, let's see where we can go from this, and how we can get some positives out of a situation that's always going to have negatives no matter what.
And everybody's moved on, so that everybody's friends, it's fine, it's not like there's hatred anymore. But like when you look back now, that program with Matt Hardy in 2005, where I remember watching Raw and he returns, and you're like, what, he's back? Are you proud of that program now? Like when you look back with you and Matt, like putting all that aside, because there was this real emotion to it. The internet was just coming out, people knew an element of the real story. Are you proud of being able to turn that into something?
Well, when you look back, it's kind of the precursor to social media, and Matt was one of the first guys to really kind of embrace what social media and the internet could be. So in that regard, it's one of the first instances of that. But more than anything else, I'm proud of the matches, because I knew what him and I did in tag team matches, and I knew what we could do together. And we both had the mentality, is like, right, we're here. Man, we can blow the roof off of this place, especially now with this stuff that's happened. And so we'll have a cage match. And the one thing that we both knew is that no matter what happened, no matter what transpired, when we got in there, we trusted each other. So I said, Matt, you got to hit me with a leg drop off the top of the cage. And I trusted him to do that. Even with all of the bad blood and everything, I knew that Matt would get up there and he would hit a sweet ass leg drop off the top of a cage, and it would be beautiful and safe and all of those things, and it was.
And then we see the clips of you and John Cena in 2006, and you guys feuded for most of 2006, and that was the first time really in WWF or WWE where a babyface was booed vociferously when it was against Triple H at WrestleMania, and it felt like as a fan that you were really trying to make yourself the bad guy. It might not have been quite as easy for you in Toronto, unforgiven, but like you tried. Why do you think that people, we're 12 years old, why do you think people didn't respond to John Cena in the way that they did for most of the babyfaces? Was there a specific thing that maybe hurt it, or like why was that harder for you to try and gain the heel response than most times?
Here's what is interesting about that is, for the majority of it, I did get that response, and we did get a positive response for John. All the house shows, for the most part, John was a babyface, and I think that was a changing time with the internet, with all of these things, and kind of understanding like, oh, the guy who's pushed at the top, there's decisions that are put into that, and there's merchandising, and there's worldwide markets, and all of those things. So sometimes an audience doesn't want to be force-fed or believe they're being force-fed something. And John was also at a point in his career where he was still getting his wrestling chops, and I knew that there was more than the fist drop and the few things that he knew worked. I knew. Well, I mean, Hulk Hogan made a lot of money with 2 moves. I'm just saying, but I knew that John could go. He just needed. I don't know if it was the confidence to know he could, or force someone to force him outside of that to go, right, we can do some stuff. And I wanted to be the guy that he could do some stuff with.
Is it hard for you, because you were, I don't use all the insider terminology, but you were kind of like the cool heel, but you were still trying to be hated. It wasn't like you were trying to go, cheer me or whatever. How hard was that for you? Because, I mean, like you said, you were able to get it to a point where John Cena was cheered and you were booed, but not a lot of bad guys or heels were able to do that over the years. What was it that you were able to tap into that maybe others weren't able to?
Well, I think it was coming off of that whole, real life storyline, that became a storyline, and that people legitimately hated me. So there's that aspect of it. And I would always formulate my matches so that my character had no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He could wrestle, but you didn't think he could wrestle that good. And that was by design. It was not my job to go out and out-wrestle babyfaces. My job was to go out there and make Batista look like the Incredible Hulk. And it was to make John Cena look like Superman. And I was the Joker. And I knew that was my job, and I would try and create scenarios that really solidified that. As a heel, I never wanted to be cheered. There was not one part of me that ever wanted. I wanted 100% of that audience to boo me, and if there was 1% that cheered me, I would try and go right after them and get them to boo me by the end of that match. And I remember, I think it was in Montreal. It might have been after the TLC match with Cena in Toronto. I came out and the place was like cheering me, and I don't even remember what I said, but it was one sentence, and I think I might have put down the Canadians or something. And within 10 seconds, it was like, whoa, I was like, yes, I got you. The one time that I didn't was in Toronto with the TLC. I gave in, man. I cracked in that reaction and main eventing in my hometown for the World Championship at a TLC match. My God, it was I couldn't fight it. And I welled up and I was, and I came to the back and again.